Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving right into the Python Pandas library. We're going to unlock 3 super powerful tools that will totally change the game when it comes to reshaping your data.
You know how it is, right? Your data has this amazing story to tell, but is it actually in the right shape to answer your questions? A lot of the time, the raw data we get just isn't set up to give us those juicy insights right away. It's got all this potential, but we've got to have the right keys to unlock it.
Okay, so let's take a super common example. We've got this table of employee data. You can see it's got everything: departments, teams, salaries, ages, all good stuff. But just looking at it row by row, how do we pull out the real meaning here? All right, so in this explainer, we are going to build a toolkit to tackle exactly this kind of problem. We're going to learn the essentials: how to group, how to summarize, and how to reshape pretty much any data set so you can answer basically any question that comes to mind.
First up, let's talk about grouping data with .groupby function. This is all about the art of summarizing. Our first tool helps us answer those big picture questions by, well, grouping similar stuff together. It's really the foundation of summarizing your data.
So picture this. Your boss walks over and asks, "Hey, what's the average salary per department?" It seems like a simple question, right? But if you look at our raw table, there's no direct answer. You'd have to start pulling out a calculator or something, and that's just asking for trouble.
And this is where groupby comes in to save the day. Seriously, this function is about to become your new best friend. Its whole purpose in life is to chop up your data into these neat little groups so you can look at each one on its own.
And the best part? The code is so simple, it's almost beautiful. It reads just like a sentence you'd say out loud. "Hey Pandas, group this data by department. Then grab the salary column and give me the average." That's it.
And boom, just like that, you get this perfectly clean summary table. It answers the question directly. No fuss, no manual calculations, just a clear, powerful insight. That's the magic of aggregation.
Okay, so we're moving on to some more advanced grouping techniques now. We're going way beyond simple averages here. We've seen that .groupby is great for getting a quick mean, but honestly, that's just scratching the surface. The real power comes when you start using its more advanced features.
So there are 3 key operations you've got to know. First, there's .aggregate, or .ag for short. This lets you apply a bunch of summary functions all at once. Then you have .transform, which is super cool because it adds group-level calculations back to your original data. And finally, there's .filter, which does exactly what it sounds like. It lets you keep or toss out entire groups based on some condition. And this little table here is so helpful because it really breaks down the difference. Think of it like this. Aggregate gives you back a small summary table, 1 value per group. Transform gives you back your entire original table, but with a new column that knows about the group's value. And filter also gives you back a version of the original table, but it's just a subset, with some groups kicked out. Getting this difference is absolutely crucial. All right, let's switch gears a bit. We're moving on from summarizing to something totally different: reshaping. This is where we start talking about melting data from a wide format to a long one. So, check out this table of student scores. This is what we call a wide format. See how each subject, math, science, English, has its own separate column? It's really easy for us as humans to read, but for a lot of computer programs, especially for plotting, this format is actually a total headache.
And that's where the melt function comes in. It is the perfect tool for this job. It literally melts down those subject columns and turns them into just 2 new ones: a column for the variable, in this case the subject, and a column for the value, the score.
And here's the result. It's what we call a long or tidy format. Now, every single row is one self-contained observation. 1 student, 1 subject, 1 score. This structure is way more flexible, and trust me, it's what most data analysis and visualization tools are built to work with.
Okay, so we've gone from wide to long. But what if you need to go the other way? Let's talk about pivoting data, which is basically reversing the melt.
Yep, for that we have the pivot function, and it does exactly the opposite of melt. It takes that long, machine-friendly data and spreads it back out into that wide format that's often easier for us to read.
It's pretty simple. You just tell Pivot what you want. You say, okay, use the name column to make my rows, use the unique values in the subject column to make my new columns, and fill in the grid with the score values. And just like that, you get your original wide table back. It's the perfect counterpart to melt.
But there's a catch, a really important one. What happens if pivoted runs into duplicate entries?
Like, what if a student has two different scores for math? The regular pivoting function just breaks. It throws an error because it has no idea which of the two scores to put in that single math cell.
And that's why we have pivot table. This is your go-to solution for this problem. You can think of it as a superpowered version of pivot that has groupby's brain. It lets you tell it how to handle those duplicates by giving it an aggregation function, like, hey, just take the average, or add them up.
Okay, so let's zoom out and do a quick recap of this awesome reshaping toolkit we've just put together. At the end of the day, it really boils down to these three essential tools. You've got .groupby to summarize your data by category. You've got .melt to take wide data and make it long and tidy. And you've got .pivot and .pivot_table to take that long data and make it wide again. These three are the absolute bedrock of shaping data in Pandas.
And it's so important to remember why we're doing all this. It's not just about making tables look pretty. There's a great quote by Carly Fiorina. The goal is to turn data into information, and information into insight. And that's exactly what these tools let you do.
So now that you can reshape data, what new questions are you going to ask? Because with these tools, you're not stuck with the data format you were given. The real power here isn't just answering the old questions faster, it's about empowering you to ask completely new questions that you never even thought were possible before.